Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. I am beyond honoured to be sitting across from a true titan of justice. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
Hi, Calvin. To put it simply, I was a lawyer who believed the Constitution should apply to everyone, not just a select few. Most folks remember me as the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, but before that, I spent many years on the road as Mr. Civil Rights, fighting for equality in courtrooms all across this country.
A legend indeed. Let's go back to the very beginning. When and where were you born?
I came into this world on July 2nd, 1908, in the beautiful city of Baltimore, Maryland.
And what was your given name at birth?
My parents named me Thurgood Marshall.
Is there a story behind that name?
There is. I was named after my paternal great-grandfather, but I'll tell you, by the time I was in the second grade, I got tired of writing out all those letters. It was just too long for a young boy in a hurry, so I took it upon myself to shorten it to Thurgood. My parents didn't seem to mind, and it certainly made my homework go faster.
That is practical thinking early on. What was your hometown of Baltimore like growing up?
Baltimore was a vibrant place, but it was deeply segregated. We lived in a middle-class neighborhood, and there was a strong sense of community, but you always knew where the lines were drawn. You saw it in the schools, the theaters, and the law. It was a place that taught you how to navigate a complicated world.
What was your family life like?
My family was everything. My mother, Norma, was a kindergarten teacher, and my father, William, worked as a steward at exclusive clubs. He was the one who really sparked my interest in the law. Even though he wasn't a lawyer, he loved a good argument. We'd sit around the dinner table and debate everything. He taught me how to back up my points with logic and evidence.
It sounds like your father was your first law professor. What kind of kid were you back then?
Oh, I was a bit of a rowdy one. I had a sharp tongue and a bit of a rebellious streak. I wasn't always the most focused student, but I was definitely talkative.
What were some of your favourite activities in school?
I was a star on the debating team, naturally. I loved the back and forth of a good argument, but I have to admit, I spent a fair amount of time in the hallway for misbehaving. My punishment was often to memorize sections of the U.S. Constitution. By the time I finished school, I knew that document forward and backward. It turned out to be the most useful punishment I ever received.
Talk about a silver lining. What was your first job?
I worked as a delivery boy and did some work in grocery stores. I also spent time working as a waiter during the summers to help pay for my education. It taught me the value of hard work and gave me a chance to see all different types of people.
Was there a moment where you realised you were different, or perhaps that your path was going to be different from everyone else?
It was when I applied to the University of Maryland Law School and was turned down specifically because of my race. That stung. It wasn't just about me, it was the realization that the law was being used as a gatekeeper rather than a gateway. That's when I knew I didn't just want to practice law, I wanted to change it.
What was your biggest break in those early years?
Getting into Howard University School of Law and meeting the dean, Charles Hamilton Houston. He became my mentor. He called us social engineers. He taught me that a lawyer is either a social engineer or a parasite on society. That vision changed my entire life.
What were your biggest struggles before you found success?
Money was always tight. When I started my own practice in Baltimore, there were days when I didn't have enough money for lunch. I also faced incredible danger traveling through the South to represent people in civil rights cases. There were many nights I didn't know if I'd make it to the next town.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Not for a second. When you see the look in the eyes of someone who has no one else to stand up for them, you don't think about quitting. You think about how to win.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that were essential to your success?
Preparation. I would stay up all night researching every possible angle of a case. I wanted to be the most prepared person in the courtroom. And storytelling, I learned that if you can tell a story that touches a person's heart, you've already won half the battle.
What job would you have had if the law hadn't worked out?
I suspect I might have ended up as a teacher like my mother, or perhaps a dentist. My parents originally wanted me to be a dentist, but I didn't think I had the stomach for it.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
Some people thought I was just a radical, but I was actually a firm believer in the system. I didn't want to tear down the house. I wanted to make sure everyone was invited inside and that the foundation was level.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
Without a doubt, Charles Hamilton Houston, he gave me the tools, the discipline, and the courage to fight the big battles.
What were you working on in your career toward the end of your time on the bench?
I was focused on protecting the rights of the individual against the power of the state. I was often the great dissenter in my later years, writing to remind people that the work of equality is never truly finished.
When and where did you pass away, and how old were you?
I passed away on January 24, 1993 in Bethesda, Maryland. I was 84 years old.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I had a great love for trains. I used to love traveling by rail. There's something about the rhythm of the tracks that helps a man think.
What was your favorite food?
I was a big fan of a good, hearty crab cake. You can't grow up in Baltimore and not love blue crabs.
Did you have any known rivalries?
In the courtroom, I went head-to-head with John W. Davis during the Brown versus Board of Education case. He was a brilliant lawyer, and we disagreed on almost everything legally, but I respected his skill. It was a battle of giants.
Tell us a story nobody talks about.
Once, while traveling in the South for a case, I had to hide in a coffin to get past a group of men who were looking for me. It wasn't the most comfortable place to spend an hour, but it certainly gave me a new perspective on life.
That is incredible. What advice would you give people chasing success today?
I'd say, do what you think is right and let the law catch up. Don't wait for permission to make the world better. And remember, in recognizing the humanity of our fellow beings, we pay ourselves the highest tribute.
Justice Marshall, do you have any closing remarks about our interview or the stories you've shared that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Just that I am so grateful for the chance to speak again. History isn't just something in a book, it's a living thing. I hope my story reminds you that one person with a little bit of courage and a whole lot of preparation can truly shift the arc of the universe toward justice. Thank you for having me, Calvin. It's been a delight.
What an absolute powerhouse. We've talked about everything from shortening his name in second grade to hiding in coffins for justice. Thurgood Marshall, thank you again for being our guest. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.